लाइट्स આગળની બંધ કરી દો. લાઇટ્સ બંધ કરી દો.
एक डायरी भी लेके आना ये देखिए हाँ अरे फोन मेरा थोड़ी हार्दिक
Hardik, ask all participants to get inside now. टीवी को बंद करवा दो.
जी सर.
जल्दी 5 मिनट से ऊपर हो.
जी सर. थोड़े से आगे हाँ वही इधर आ जाइए थोड़ा सा
Excuse me, please move forward.
सीट तो ये 3 दिख रही है
Sir, shall we start? Hello. Hello, sir. Am I audible to you? Sir, shall we start? Okay, sir. Our anchor will give a brief intro of Dr. Ankit Durrani, sir. Then we shall proceed.
Hello. Good morning, Dr. Ankit. I cannot hear you. I think you are mute. Yes, yes. Okay, so Dr. Ankit from VNIT Nagpur is with us to address today's first talk. So before we talk, I would like to ask Hardik to introduce Dr. Ankit with our participants. Please go ahead.
Dr. Ankit Durrani has received his Bachelor in Electronics and Communication, MTech in Electronics and PhD from IIT Mumbai. He is following teaching as his passion and has 8+ years of experience teaching undergraduate and postgraduate courses at various institutes of national importance like IIT, NIT, etc. He has published several papers in various international conferences and journals. He has been active reviewer for reputed IEEE conference and Elsevier journals. He has 2 Indian patents granted and 3 filed with IPR office. His research interested include embedded systems, biomedical signal processing, scalable video coding, and green communication. So let's welcome Dr. Ankit sir. Over to you, sir.
Sir, you are audible, but your audio is very low, sir.
May I now confirm my audio, please?
Yes, sir, it is audible.
Alright. So, okay, yeah, thanks a lot for this long introduction. Let's get started. So, this being the first talk I suppose for the day, and that's the reason like I would like to go quite soft and quite based kind of talk. So, there are particularness, I would always like to go ahead with whenever I would like to go for a talk. So let me just share my PPT here and then start the session. Alright, so please confirm if you are able to see my screen.
Yes, sir. Your screen is visible.
Okay, thank you. So this talk is all about out of hospital health monitoring using variables and AI. So you are free to access this PPTs by simply scanning this QR. You can just scan this QR and you will be able to see all this. You are free to go to that. I work as an assistant professor at the Department of Electronics and Communication here at the University, and I'm here since like 2016. So before that, I was there at Nagpur, and I served as a medical student. And here, I'm just dealing with the area of research and AI and healthcare. Specifically, like I work here for medical applications, but majorly in AI and healthcare and the variables in that. Alright, so as I said, a few disclaimers for the talk. So here are a few expectations. So here is an hour of talk. May not give you a lot of comprehensive coverage on the topic. However, what this talk we can expect is some background of some heart related disease or cardiac related disease. So that this talk is all about out of hospital health monitoring. I'll be mostly focusing, as I said, on cardiac related diseases or cardiac research that have happened over the years and also recently. Also, you will get a kind of a glimpse of what are the different research approaches. In fact, one of them is what I will be focusing on in this talk, related to one of the diseases related to the CVD. As I already said, that this talk you can't consider as a comprehensive, it's a non-comprehensive talk. You have to refer to multiple links and references that will be finding all through my presentations. You are just free to go to those references and read them further and you can utilize that for your future, whatever story that you would like to do. Not only that, I'll also give a glimpse of how whatever like the recent approaches are, how it can be realized in practice with some practical considerations of some course impacts and some practical approaches also can be gained from it. So as I said, okay, I have not going to be comprehensive. You may expect a photograph like this, however, the talk may turn out to be like this. So as I said, it's not going to be comprehensive, so please pardon for that if that happens. Alright, so before going ahead with the talk, I would like to spell some statistics for the new statistics and also Indian statistics as well as the harm to this course. So let's look at some of the stats. Now, this is the snippet or the poster that was shared by World Health Organization. Not recently, but yes, this will be sufficient enough to give a kind of a glimpse of how deadly or how this the CVDs are actually causing as a, they have emerged as a number one killer in the world. If you see about the numbers, this CVD has topped the numbers around 21 million approximately every year has been reported in the globe. So it's 28 years that it has. So the most common one, or the global cause of death, for around 1/3 of the population over the globe. That's a huge number, 1/3. So and also if you see that around specifically the low and middle income countries, including India, so around more than 75%. Now that's the number. More than 75% of the death happens because of this. So simply I mean that there are some sort of cardiovascular disease, anything related to heart or blood vessels, some sort of disorder related to heart or blood vessels, and referred to as heart disease series. Now these are the global statistics which were published by World Health Federation. Let's look at some of the local statistics or the specific stats. So here's another set of statistics specifically mean not for the globe but for South Asian countries. So the South Asians, they are, already know that there are two countries that from Asia, specifically in Afghanistan, Pakistan, India, Indonesia, Maldives, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, Nepal. So if you just consider these areas, what what we refer as in South Asia, we have around 25% of heart attacks are actually happening less than 40 years. So if your age is like, even if your age is like less than 40, still there are around 25% of the chance, what of the chance of that heart attack that can happen below 40. And that chance doubles, that percentage almost doubles if the age part increases by just 10 years. So we are below 50 years, around 50% of the chances are there that we are going to get a heart attack. Now, of course, like these numbers are actually increasing, but you see the other numbers that this is quite interesting. 14% higher chance of mortality from heart attacks. What it means that if you are deciding to South Asia, including India, so if you are deciding in India, with this 40% higher chances, apart from the numbers that we are already discussed, even better than that, even higher than that is 40% higher chance of mortality of heart attacks than the general population. So that's a kind of threatening numbers. And this is not only these are the recent studies that have been published by Stanford study that have happened and also the world. If these are not less, let's look at some of the other studies that have happened. So around in India itself, around the cause of 20% of the deaths that happens. In fact, 20% you said it's a less number, because it's a global, India's contribution to global death due to heart attacks is 20% what happened. I'm not saying this is the Stanford study that has happened specifically for South Asia. Probably can have a video on that. Let's look at the journals, what the journals say scientifically. So they have done a lot of studies, and it has been found that you can see that the studies that have happened by also this some of the numbers that you can see here, quite cool, but this brain process. So CVD has become the leading cause of mortality, and also they are responsible for more than 80% of the CVD deaths. Also, you can see that they account for approximately 60%, number is quite high, of the world's heart disease burden. Used for referring to the impact of heart disease on. So now this is very clear that these heart diseases are the biggest cause of the mortality, and we need to deal with it. The second biggest thing that happened in India is having looked at your so why are that? So exactly because of the genes that carry over to you. Just because we are born here, we are having why having those chances of heart attacks. So that should be sufficient enough to just see that how concerned we should be for the heart. And we should take care of one other reasons. There are certain factors that we are going to do this, but let's focus on some of these factors which affect the result. So let's look at some of the factors. So here are some of the factors. Just the number that has happened before this. Okay, so yeah, so next. So I think the questions that I talk, I'll have actually reduced around 10 questions. So let's look at the underlying causes for this number. So if you look at the facts, there are some factors what are called as non-modifiable factors. There is like first of all, is the genes. Because we are born with the genes actually are susceptible for heart disease. So that, and also the age that basically happens a lot. So these are some of the non-modifiable factors, but we have the factors in we are born. And there are some sort of a modifiable factor that is called the lifestyle that we actually practice. You have like a attitude to your daily life, like so all this what we call the modifiable and non-modifiable factors lead to a lot of heart diseases, including stroke, myocardial infarction, what we call it that heart failure, a lot of other heart diseases, right? So of course this is not in our hand, this is not in our hand. let's look at it, a way in which that we can feel that there is something that is wrong with your heart and you know, we look at how we can make something new such that this one of the factors on your life will be the indicator that. Okay, so before going ahead, as the topic is already aware of biology of this, I would like to provide quickly what is called what is the physical and how we okay, so this is all new for the anti-carries of third, that is an exception, except permanent art. Always one of the parties or even the parties to take away the papers from the art and to the games and just that is the art. So with an exception of this, always options that can be parties and the options that are games, the permanent art is always the option that is now, if you look at the happening, it's not a community that actually but actually but in fact the heart is of some shapes of lenses at the center of the chest and towards slightly tilted towards the so if you look at the way in which the heart functions, so it starts with step number one. Step number one is where the blood actually reaches to the inferior vena. Now this is there are some inferior veins and just like this and then just for simplicity what I feel that enters to this vena. Inferior vena that's the most where so if you look at the anatomy of heart, so if this actually having four layers, so it has multiple addresses. There are top two fingers called as expression. There are bottom two fingers called as belly. So whenever the heart tries to come to the blood, it actually enters to this inferior vena cava. That's the first step. Enters the blood enters this inferior vena cava and enters this right atrium. That's the second step. Now, this there are the walls that are responsible to open and close symptoms or proper coordination. So that is actually enters the right ventricle. Left and right side body is to the knee. So if you want to refer your heart, it's your left and your right. So the second step I will say enters the right atrium, then it enters the right ventricle, and this what is from here onward it is actually pumped. The heart is actually pumped, it gets contracted, and it gets pumped to this heart on the blood. And again, like the next thing, like this pulmonary vein is responsible for receiving the blood in this positive, and again it goes in this in the ventricle, that ventricle in the heart. So that's how it happens. So of course, oxygen blood is carried from this lungs, and of course, it's being pumped all over the body. And that's the basic thing we all know that. So let's see how this happens in hand. Now, whenever the heart tries to pump blood, the origin is from this what is called the sinus node. So electrical signal, that's the object. The electrical signal arises from this point that's there at that point that's there in the blood kidney. This is a point called as a sinus node. That point is responsible for creating or the source of what we call the basic phase of the heartbeat. It actually starts from this point, what is called as a sinus rhythm. And from that point onwards, this electrical signal gets transmitted or it gets shared with the partition that you can see the electrical signal is shared at this partition, the midpoint of the two chambers, the four chambers, to the midpoint. And from that point onwards, the electrical signal travels towards what we call the branches or the muscles of the heart, so that like the sufficient electrical signal is generated in order to pump the heart, so that the heart can pump and provide the blood to the entire body. Now, if I want to simply sense what are the different, what is the kind of electrical signal that I would like to see, if you want to just visualize what is this electrical signal at each of these locations, so we can simply plot the signals like this. So we have as this the starting point is what we call at this point, the sinus node point where this arises. Then you can see what is happening. So it will simply tell you this some kind of a graph that is related called the electrocardiogram. So this graph simply tells us that okay, this is the sinus node that is created electricity. The signal is here at the partition, and then there is a strong kick as you can see. So it's the R kick you can say. So the signal that we have is having some weight. So as you can see, there is a P field, P, there is a Q is there, Q bottom, as you can see, is the bottom row. So PQRS is the waveform that we have. P wave, QRS, and C. So this P is actually the R responsible for indicating that it is that's the time when the heart actually pumps. That is the final response. And let's look at that in action. So now this is very slow motion of something that I'm doing. So let's look at that in practice how the heart actually pumps. So as you can see here on the left, I'm showing an animation. So where the heart actually pumps. As I said, you can see the walls, the bicuspid and the tricuspid walls that actually tries to open and close whenever blood gets collected in this chamber and wherever blood has to be pumped. So as you can see the orientation and also the coordination that happens. When the two walls are actually open, the other walls are actually closed and so on, and vice versa. I won't go into biology terms and all. So just to get a kind of an overview that we have to work in coordination with each other for appropriate or what we call as for appropriate flow of blood to the entire body. So what is the desired flow of blood is required for that. All these balls must close and open properly in synchronization. It's hard to operate in synchronization with each other. That means the electrical signals should actually follow the same path over and over again and again till the end of life. So that's what is the function of a heart. Now if this doesn't happen, this is normal. If this doesn't happen, we say that there is something wrong with the heart and there is something called as a arrhythmia happening. So this is a rhythm, as you can see, the heart operates in a rhythm, and it takes some, it operates in some coordination in some rhythm. That's what we call as what's called as a normal sinus rhythm. Just because it's a sinus code and it's a rhythm that is being followed, it's called as a normal sinus rhythm or a normal heart first heart. But if there is something wrong, we say that there is something wrong. We can't say that there is no coordination, there is hardly some difference in the coordination, and we say that there is something called the arrhythmia. Heart is not functioning. Okay, so if we look at the heart conditions, so again there will be several heart conditions that can be happening. So there are typical heart conditions. There are some names that may be feel a lot in day-to-day life. So if you look at the cloud of heart diseases, if you are at a stock image or variety of heart diseases, you see that so many heart diseases or heart-related diseases that are actually more than to be heart attack is the most common word that might have heard. The stroke or the brain hemorrhage, you may be getting goosebumps, getting goosebumps in your relatives because someone got heart attack or stroke, someone got some sort of heart failure. So if you look at these terms, there are several sort of these heart diseases, and of course it is not possible to cover. Just to give a list of one of these kind of heart diseases. Usually they are very related to ischemic heart diseases. So what ischemic means is that if there is not sufficient amount of flow, the flow is reduced, the flow is reduced, and that is because of blockage of the blood flow to the heart or something like that. So there are several diseases that are mentioned, some of these heart diseases, stroke. Now let me just talk something about the stroke. So the stroke occurs when a blood clot actually clots the blood. So it's so if there is no coordination in your heart pumping, it may happen that there will be a clot that gets created in the blood vessels. So that clot may get traveled to the brain, and that may lead to something called what we call stroke. We call it as a stroke. Now the stroke is different from that image. it may happen that the blockage that has happened in the brain, that may rupture the blood vessels that are there in the brain, and if that happens, we call that it's a brain cancer. So I'm just giving a brain therapy, although these terms are related to each other, but they are not the same. So the scope is different, the image is different, the heart key is different, heart attack is fantastic. So let me just talk about those terms as well. So if we talk about these terms, you might have heard about these terms a lot in your daily life. In the relative of yours, you have got a heart attack and cardiac arrest. So these three terms are different. When we talk about the heart attack, it's actually the circulation term. That means it occurs when a blood flow to the heart is blocked. So when you feel that they match part of a heart attack or something like that, so there's a pinch in the blood vessel that happens because of some blockage in the blood. So that happens because of the plague that we've created over time, because of some bad habits, wrong things that we are doing. Okay, so that gets created in the blood vessels and that is actually blocking the flow. So there's a pinching that happens in the blood vessels and that actually causes something called heart attack. So there's a angioplasty procedures that are available, bypass procedures that are available if you want to restore the flow. Okay, so this is not that what we call tricking, okay, but it will lead to a test. What I'm saying is that heart attack is not like entirely heart is stopped with heart has stopped beating, but it has some sort of blockage that is there that can be removed. There are some procedures and plastic bypass there. There's something called cardiac arrest. This is quite different. As I said, it's an electrical drop. So what happens is that, as I said, the sinus mode creates a electrical signal. If there is some electrical drop and the heart itself stops beating, say that there is something called as a cardiac arrest that happens, and there are some procedures to which we can dispatch the heart in some cases. Some cases it cannot be possible. So, and there is something called the heart failure. Okay, the heart failure is something called it's still beating. It's not like it's not functioning, but it's not sufficient. So the pump is not sufficient to pump the blood to the entire body. So it's kind of a mechanical problem. So maybe the loosening of the heart muscles are actually creating this problem. So although as you see that these terms are different, they will be related to each other. So some heart attacks may lead to cardiac arrest or heart failure. So these terms are different. Now, understand there are so many people around heart disease. Let's align and focus on at least one of those diseases that actually quite frequently, or we can say that can control that can control a continuous monitor. So I'm talking about this arrhythmia. As I said, now it should be quite clear that summarize that if a heart has a form of blood, it should be there in one motion, there should be some rhythm to it, and if it's not, then there is something wrong that is called the arrhythmia. Now there are several types of arrhythmia. So as I said, you can see the most common one is what we call as we have actually relation as we see. So let me just demonstrate how this arrhythmia could look like. So here on the left is the normal heart, where the sinus rhythm is created, it's the electrical signal is quite perfect in and the walls are open and closing as the way that is desired. But on the right you can see is a chaos of electrical signal that is connected. There's a lot of chaos that is there of the electrical signals in the upper atria. There's atria and there's ventricle. So we have this some chaotic signal that is generated at the upper half of the heart, and that's what we call some kind of storm or arrhythmia that is happening. It's not important. As you can see, the walls are not opening and closing properly. There's some sort of a partial opening or closing. Or even if they are closing, they are like initially closing partly and then then in the second step is closing and so on. So there is so many variations of this. So let's see if we can monitor such kind of activities so that it can be prevented and we can get some legal treatment at right time. Alright, so just on a lighter note, let's look at the definition, actual definition of what I'm talking about. So when I say that it's arrhythmia, okay, there may be several types of arrhythmia. I'm talking about specifically about the atrial fibrillation. That is the most common type of arrhythmia, one of the most common types of arrhythmia. Where you may say that there is some sort of chaotic signal that gets generated, that's electrical problem, that causes the upper half chambers of the heart. See, the upper half chamber of the heart will be irregularly, and often it is quite fast than normal. So that actually gives an impact on the heartbeat. As we have seen the electric signals, that the electric signals, that the ECG signals are normal for normal, they are quite regular in shape. But however, for the heartbeat, the electric that with the arterial electric that you can see that not familiar that you can see this all these things. Okay, so this stop, let's align let's not focus on all of them, of course it's not possible. Let's align ourselves to at least one possible heart disorder, and that possible is fibrillation as mentioned. Alright, so as I said, there may be in atrial fibrillation, there may be some variation. There, you may experience this atrial fibrillation maybe occasionally, if it happens occasionally or if it happens for a few minutes or a few hours, that's called a paroxysmal atrial fibrillation. If it is persistent for more than 7 days, it will be persistent and it may be a kind of a long lasting fear as well. So when can you indicate that, when can you say that it's clear that you are having, you may experience some dilatations, you may experience some palpitations, that means your heart is actually racing fast than usual. You may experience such kind of time events somehow, real time. So if that happens, you will do that wrong. Alright, so let's come to that. So let's look at only other things talking about all about this in this model, and I would like to just come across this term of continuous model. So when was the last time you visited a hospital? So whenever like we feel that we feel that we can't carry ourselves normally, then we just go to a hospital where there is something wrong with you. But unless and otherwise you experience something wrong, you are not going to visit the hospital. So this always less practice. It's not regular practice that we go and visit the hospital on a regular basis. Usually that has to be done. But we don't go to hospital regularly. We just go when there is a last minute requirement that our body needs to take something has to get care, and then we do it. So however, such kind of abnormalities that are happening right here demands that there is has to be a continuous control, a medical care, physical and an appropriate time and appropriate time. The recovery can be done. So let's look at how we can go for a continuous monitoring. Now let's look at what is wrong with the current scenarios and then go for continuous monitoring. So let's look at the gold standard. So currently, if you go to the hospital, if there is something wrong with your heart, the first thing that they do is to take the ECG. So ECG is simply or the graph of the electrical signal that are sent at each week. So when you go to hospital, you see this way, they actually attach in movies that they will attach some left arm, some electrode, right arm, some electrode. They attach the first one to the left leg, and to the three electrodes they take the signal. It's actually a body signal, EQRS curve. So it's a EQRS curve. That's it. Now this is actually the gold standard. There is something wrong with that. The cardiologist will first look at it. Before listening to that, look at what is going wrong with this rhythm. Now, so as I said, this is a gold standard. But these instruments are quite heavy. So you can't carry this all the way. And of course, as I said, when you visit the hospital, everything is wrong. You can't have a continuous monitoring of the heart rate. And that's when the emergence of what is called the PET, this is called the photo. So we talked about this ECG, so that is the hefty device that is there in the hospital, there is a noise and there is a electrode that are connecting and continuously connecting to your heart. But there is some simplest way to go to what is called the ECG. Now this ECG, in order to just use the ECG, some of the devices that exist in practice, how we can monitor our heart using some sort of wearable devices. In that, you may be aware of these devices. These are some wearables or smartwatches that are available. Come to that, and that's where the continuous monitoring. ECG devices are quite heavy, but if you can simply wear a watch and it is that is actually continues to monitor your heart health. That will be more than this is okay. So we have other things that have to watch save their life because it was so because that is from the heart. So let me take a few top brands where this, what is capable of recording and these will be like sufficient for us to just was there in the long run. So now let's look at like how these devices could be capable and could be some what equivalent to not equivalent but at least some close to it. Let's look at the internals of this one. So if you look at the back, you can even the inner picture of this. If you look at the back, use the point tool one. So if you look at the back, you need to use sensors. And at the back plus you use sensors. These are what I call it. So here you may have these are different LEDs that are there, these are sensors. So these are if you just try to open it, at the back, you just try to open it back and remove the complicated circuit that resides inside. This is what people like to focus on when they say sensors. So yeah, something like this. So there is an array of what we call LEDs, and there are light sensors or photodetectors that are there. So let's see the next arrangements of LEDs and sensors. And this array of sensors, and LEDs are responsible for capturing the heart activity in your wrist. So let's see how that happens. Again, we do a wireless coil. Actually, on this. Yeah, this is the sensor that I was talking about. So whenever you go these high-end devices, of course, each of these devices cost around 60,000 to 1 lakh. Exactly what the cost of 1 lakh is cost around 60,000 rupees or so. But let's look at the cheaper versions that are available in the market, some Chinese versions. To use from noise, they also have, now this arrangements to be different. As you can see, the sensors were arranged in certain pattern, but these sensors are quite different when it comes to, they are quite cheap sensors and that are available for a body use. So you see, these are the sensors and then today using this and found that there's something called as a HX3690Q. It's an ultra low power high performance variable sensor that is used for capturing this. Now, let's assume that okay, we don't know anything about this sensor. Let's see how those signals, how the sensors are actually capable of recording the heart rate. Now, I think most of the people there in the audience may have, some of the people may have smartwatches in their hands. I don't know, back to the audience later on. But look at how it operates what it does is simply a light or LED of some beam or some wavelength that is set to use the light or the green light. So mostly the smartwatch will call it green light. It's an LED and also the IR sensor that is sending a light signal. And actually, usually the best way to measure the PPG is at the fingertips because the graphs are quite clear. So you can subpart the light. What happens internally is that you have the skin layers and the dermis. Here, you look at there are the vessels, the capillary vessels which carries the blood. So, assuming that as the heart pumps, we are just seeing that how heart pumps, as a heart pump, it creates some sort of pressure, some sort of blood flow pressure that is actually varying the flow of blood in the vessels at a particular point. What we can do is we send the light and look at what is the difference, what is the amount of light that is reflected from this capillary vessels. So when a light is actually sent, the amount of light that gets detected by this photodetector is responsible for obtaining what is the blood flow or the pressure at that point. If we try to plot this, we will get waveforms like this. Now it's quite different. The waveforms you see is quite different from the ECG waveforms. But still it indicates something. Because it's having multiple elements, it's a hierarchy and a small thing, what we call it system. So if you look at how hard things are already more, but if you look at the systoles and diastoles, they're different. So the systole is when the heart rate shrinks and it's in the respiration rate, the heart rate that is there, and then what is the systole. And if the heart is relaxed, position is relaxed, that's what is called the diastole. So you are getting two things there. So one is when the blood pressure is quite high and the blood pressure is quite is fluid from the blood flow, is irritable, then the heart is black. Now, you wonder why the ratio of the heart, but we should get something wrong with the electrical signals of the heart. That's where the ear goes. But the research has been undertaken by the researchers that this PPG should be sufficient to get some variation in the heart. So you can detect some variations mainly from the PPG. So means blood pressure is in the range of 130 to 80. But if there is something wrong with the systolic pressure is higher than the normal one, it will indicate that are you actually working harder than normal one, and it may indicate that there is something wrong or the hypertension that is happening. But if there is something wrong with the diastole, if this number is low or higher, it means that there is something wrong with the heart. So always when you go to hospital, so blood pressure is actually related to two numbers. So it's systolic, diastole, and this should be normal. Number two high, number two low, and these numbers are going to help us a lot. So once we have these numbers, it's not only this number because you know these numbers can be often like this, the blood pressure, can be like or the pulse rate and be often, but no. What we actually are looking for is that in between, we do want a point of, we don't want a single number that we can take some hard, something or a number that we can take something, but we want a continuous PPG signal. Simply indicate that okay, if this signal, as you can see, if this signal is actually indicating the ratio, blood ratio, there may be some variations in the PPG signal as well when there is something wrong with the air. So when there is something wrong with the APR, there may be some variations in the systems and dashboards, and that's what we capture. We want to continuously monitor these relations. So why talking about this PPG because these are variables, this can be scary. Of course, the determinate this real what and the major and that's the reason let's come to how we can detect the impact using the. So we can always detect the relation. What we are just about the polygraph, some sort of chaos activity in the upper extreme. And here, if you want to detect that, you have to follow the signal. If you look at this signal, this is normal PPG signal. It looks like two peaks that are there. But if you look at the AHC signal, it looks something like this. This is this clear difference between the two of them. Now this actually varies from not looking exactly like that. Of course, the signals are not that is actually expected. So, so this air can be manifested by looking at some varying pulse per blood. You can see the pulse per level is varied here, whereas the longer one is quite small, it's regular. So if you can detect, if you can have these signals, we can easily, we should be able to easily determine whether this is wrong with the heart or the air using the PPC. Alright, so we don't want it to be, we want to have it to be, we have this because anemia, the starting is clear to me. Once we have this clear to me, we need to some mechanism to require some data to be clear so that when we feed this signal, it should be able to detect whether it's wrong or not. But the point one is going to be two-class classification problem where we have recently classified classes. There is it is classified into classes. So it's a final class classification problem. So we just keep this and let me look at how we can do that by one of the approaches. So as I said that this typically the financial actually is that okay. What we can do is that let's focus on the peak because we know that normal financial is having great interaction with each other. What we can do is let's capture a segment of we want continuous one, but if then we detect if there's something wrong with the heart or not, we have to actually detect a small portion of small deviation of the blood. So So what we are intending to do is, let's say for example, 20 seconds, 30 seconds, or half a minute, if you sit there and taking, if I'm capturing video something like this, what I do here is that, let's say for example, I just capture only two peaks, one peak and another peak. So I'm just capturing two full and two peaks. But that's only a small duration, maybe around the duration of 1 minute or 1 minute. So, if you go on, with the this could be enough. So what we do is, let it be a continuous distribution that is coming from it. What we do is we need to capture the peaks of it. R peaks you can see, not R peaks, but the systolic peaks. Once you get those systolic peaks, what you can do is to form stack of these. Let's say, let's have a continuous that is coming off, let's say for example, 5 seconds. I'm taking 2 second segments and just stacking them all together in order to obtain some sort of a stack or a matrix of these. Once you have a stack of these tiny 2 second segments, you can obtain either a heat map or you can say that it's imagine that you have all these signals and you're just looking from the top. And then from the top you can see some ups and downs, and that ups and downs are indicated by this brighter variation that you can see heat map. So the higher values, the lighter values indicates the higher values, and the darker values indicates the low values. The peaks and troughs. They are the peaks and the troughs that are happening. So this one, once you get obtain this kind of unit, you can then apply a lot of algorithm, a lot of algorithm. So here we can just use to the neural network train for itself, and then detect. And of course, we know that there is going to be some difference in this here. There is going to be some difference in this here. It is going to be normal. And this is a two-class problem, and that really that has to be trained. Model or the computer has to be trained on detecting the variation that happens within this thing. So this was one of the approaches by Bachelor and was recent. And in fact, there was the other approaches that we also had tried, and part of that was as this for that that one problem is you can just look at what are the intricacies in this, or what are the different variations inside the scene. So similar to any instrument, you can apply this kind of for example, so what you can do is you can have one instrument is formed with a different, and let's say for example you want to classify an instrument, whether it is a hot or a beta or a top. So if you want to classify these classes, what we do is that we pass this states. So what it does is into approaches and then has those tiny variations of that script. Now to calculate it, you may have some sort of filter. So high pass filter and low pass filter. You can apply high pass filter so that this variations can capture. And for applying those filters, variations filters, you have to pass this environment in multiple stages of evaluation. Now of course, you can see that the entire image of, let's say for example, the binary code, the whole rate, the entire image has to map to three different values. So what you can think of is that, okay, at the input if there is some image, okay, I want to classify that as a false or a dog, I want to use three numbers to it. So I am imagining that, okay, what is the output that I am getting? Whose number is quite high, I can indicate that, okay, that's the image that is being that's a simple concept of it. So we have this image, the entire 2D image has to map to only three values. So how that happens? So we are passing that to multiple calculation layers, and also we are at the same time we are downsampling them. We are taking the max value as to taking a max of 4 values or 8 values and so on. So we are somehow trying to downsample the outputs, and later on at the end we are trying to try and reduce this, what is the area that we are obtaining to the values. So that's how we can go for some feature extraction based on the filters, and also we can do some classification. The same concept applies here. As we want to look at some of the indices that we are taking, or each type of taking, we can apply this image here and pass it to some sort of a loop, and at the end instead of T here, I will this example, let's go for the two numbers. Two numbers to be if we take the number, two numbers to be here, and that is normal one, and an abdomen. So this was number is quite high. You can see that okay, that image belongs to or that match is of depending on the probability that you are saying. So I was saying there are a lot of possibilities that you can go ahead with and go for CNN, rather than so many things that you once you optimize. You can also it's not necessarily optimizing and you can apply the algorithm on this one signal themselves. But as I said, this is one of the approaches that has been found to be that is actually proven to be quite better than the other. And just to see this. So I just keep the approach as I said, this same approach was actually used in before, and you can see the model that they have proposed was they have applied the all of this syllabus to some channel attention module. So channel attention module was responsible to extract or highlight the those features that are responsible for the classification. So what they actually do is to highlight some of the parts that attention is given to those parts that are responsible for the classification. The highlighting features are used separately. And video thing happens here in bachelor or channel attention, so the channel attention for the RGB colors that we have, and the color thing, spatial attention for these skills variations of the animated spatial attention. So we have this variations between or successive levels of the image. So if you do this kind of acting code, it's methods we have the power there, we have power there, and drop out the most common layers of channel, and then we go on repeating this. We get four parts, first set of layers, second set of layers. So this is the thing that I defined here, for you, and then at the end we have the maximum. So the resolution will be maximum proper. And after this is a flattening that happens, so the flattening like this happens here, and after that again we have the classification. So on this here, this is my function which is responsible for that. These are simple that I can use for the classification. Alright, so let me just make you run through the literature in the quickly. That will be what is this practice and what we done further. So let's look at the existing practice against the players are almost around 100% practice that obtain for classification using this what we call the and almost around 100% quite high. So at our place that we have actually group of our group has actually focused on some technique for the administration of them. So we were actually able to surpass this, and we were also able to obtain new sort of accuracies, but with low number of what we call the trainable parameters. So when anyone is actually training and of course we want that we want to view it on what. So of course that model has to like it. And if we want to ensure that the model is like it, we need to ensure that the trainable parameters must be as far as possible. So the trainable parameters are obtained by it depends on how many layers of input exposed are training. For example, in this case, there are 10 analytical layers of having 4 filters, each of them has 3 by 3, and of course, each of these filters will have exponential bias. So it will be around 64 times 10 by 10 because 1 plus 1 is the bias that is always used. So this 60% around 650 is the training parameter. Similarly, if you go for the other layers, they will have their own trainable parameters, and this number should be as low as possible. And we went for some processing and we saw that these numbers have very much different. I disclose the results the lab. So what we can do is that you can see that the number of trainable parameters we have towards particular we saw that with the proposed approach. We use this single sort of approach. So trainable parameters can be added to the other operator that actually beats all the Alright, so we have going to the end of the talk, and let's talk about the question. But before that, let me tell you that you have to be very cautious when you see these numbers. Whenever you use 100%, so you have to be very cautious. Whenever this is a period and 100% accurate, this is a period, I can just clear that period very at least this like at least because my work is to usually like this from hospital, 100% chance that I'm going to take. So just look at this picture and you know about what I mean back and forth. There's always a chance where you may get stuck and you can't react on agreements. And there are varieties of kind of forms in the point. It all depends on how you are, but of course, like, the chances can be reduced. Like, there are other ways to use that can get like, the chances can be reduced that kind of agreements. Alright, so there are other businesses. As you can see, there's a research study by Google. They are working on a long-term prediction of iOS users and lot of Google keep on this way and it's really a lot of things that actually have they call it long-term they have long the results on it. Alright, so I think this wrap it up and yeah, so that's the course of talk. I was supposed to money go by heart that question for so we will please to answer them exactly. So thanks a lot for that clarification. If I'm still connected.
Yes, sir. Last question.
Right, so no questions, fine, so let's stop here.
Excuse me, sir, if any of students have questions, so they can ask.
Yeah, please.
So, guys, if you have any questions, so you can ask to sir. Anybody has any question?
Good morning, sir. My name is Sanya. I had a very silly question, if you don't mind. By the end,
Yeah, please.
sir, I had a silly question. By the end, you mentioned there were 64 filters that are used while making up.
Sorry, I haven't able to get the voice that is comfortable in my speak.
Am I audible?
Yes, yes.
I had a question about filters that were being used. Are they the normal filters or the specific kind of filters that were used to mention 64 filters are?
I haven't seen, let me start like that. Actually, it's a good question. So what she's asking is that there is a specific set of filters that are used for this effect. So people that use set of filters, that's what is where the training happens. So neural network has to be trained because actually the filters are not known. Filters are actually getting evolved during the training. What we do is to fill a lot of images as an input, and these filter weights, they are initialized initially. So there are some dynamic initialization there. Suppose we have only two-point filter, let's say for example 0.5 and 0.5. So these two values are randomly initialized. And then as the image is actually passed, we have a team, so how it happens, we have a training set of data and we have a testing set of data. So as this training set of data, around 80% of the data, entire data is passed through training. All these images are passed through network so that this weight gets changed and get adapted to the data itself. So the training weight or the filter weights are determined by the data itself. So we have fixed set of filters, fixed set of values of filters. They can be these values are actually set as and when the data is actually passed. So it actually depends on whether the data that is better than this. If it is a PT data, this weight will be different. If it is a hard or other signal data, this weight will be different. It all depends on what your target.
Thank you so much.
Anybody has another question?
Sir, I think there is no question left. Thank you for joining this session and this insightful information. Thank you.
Moving forward, it's my pleasure to introduce our next distinguished speaker, Dr. Deepak Kumar Dharwal. Dr. Deepak is an assistant professor in the Department of Electronics and Communication Engineering at PDEU. He earned his PhD in microelectronics from IIT BHU, focusing on the fabrication and characterization of perovskite-based photovoltaic devices. He has extensive experience in semiconductor materials and device fabrication, including work as postdoctoral fellow at DRDO Defense Laboratory, Jodhpur, where he contributed to the synthesis of signal crystals for optoelectronic applications. His expertise spans solar cells, 2D materials, quantum dot-based optoelectronic devices, photodetectors, sensor, and thin film transistors. Dr. Dharwal has published over 35 research papers in reputed international journals and has participated in prestigious conferences. He has received government-funded fellowships, including the Visvesvaraya PhD Fellowship and CSIR Junior Research Fellowship. His research focuses on nanoscale devices for healthcare, energy, and sensing applications. Today, he will be delivering on nanomaterials for nanoscale healthcare devices, its innovation and future prospects. Over to you, sir.
So, good morning, first of all. All of you from the EC part? EC also? So, did that So today we will discuss about the nanomaterial for nanoscale healthcare device innovation and future perspective. So first of all, in this title there are two terms. First one is nanomaterials and second one is healthcare device. So first of all, we should know about the what is the nanomaterials, right? What is the nanomaterials? Second is that healthcare device. How can we fabricate device from the nanomaterials, and that can be used for the healthcare or medical application. So this is the title. So these are the objective and outlines of today's topic. First we will discuss introduction, then introduction to nanomaterials and nanotechnology, then nanomaterials synthesis technique, how can we synthesis. So then we will discuss about the nanomaterial synthesis technique. There are so many techniques by which we can synthesize the nanomaterials. And next is nanomaterial property and sensing, then nanomaterial health and medicines, therapy, property database, and finally process control. So, for research point of view, there are three categories. First one is material based, second one is device based, third one is application based. Suppose I don't want anything about the nanomaterials and nano devices. Right? So how can I start my research from? What's device, or so first I should know about the material, right? Which material is useful for that particular application. Suppose I want to use such type of material which is more useful for the sunlight, right? So I require material that have maximum absorbance coefficient, right? So which is the which may be perovskite material, which is the silicone material, which is gallium arsenide. So these are the category of the photo absorbing material. So here my application is healthcare device, right? So I will choose such type of material that can be useful for the healthcare device. That may be for the glucose sensing, that may be for the particular virus sensing, that can be for maybe protein sensing, right? So we will discuss about the material as well as healthcare device. So now question is that what is nanoscience? When we study about the nano level, then that is nanoscience. Or what is the meaning of the nano? Means teeny. You can say teeny or small. It may be particle, it may be quantum dot, it may be nanodot, it may be nanotubes, nanowires, nanorods, right? The particle that is very teeny, very small, or having dimension in nanometer, that is called nanomaterials. Right? So it is not biology, physics, chemistry, it is all science that must be all very small. Because suppose we want to work on the material that is used for the healthcare device. So we require the physicist, we require the chemist, how can we synthesis, what will be the physical property of that material, and we require the engineering background, so we require the biological background, because we should know how it will react with some biological compound, right? So every plant will have marked 8 nanotechnology. Now, what is a nanomaterial? Nano derived from the Greek word nano, meaning derived or small, right? We can say teeny particle, right? Very small particle. And nanomaterials in any material having least one dimension range of 1 to 100 nanometer. It means material should have one dimension in 1 to 100 nanometer, right? Suppose this is the object. We can't say this is nano. But if have one dimension, suppose x, y, z, if have one dimension in nanometer, then we can say this is the nanomaterials, right? It may be then nanorod, it may be nanotubes, it may be some axial nano materials, right? Comparison of macro, micro, and nano. Below 10,000 nanometer, sorry, we can't easily open from the next side, right? Above 10,000 nanometer, we can object. So can you tell me what is the size diameter of the hair? Fifty micron to 80 micron, right? 50 micron to 80 micron. We can see up to 10,000 nanometer, but below that we can't see from the neck panel. So these are the in category of the nanomaterials. Now what is the nanotechnology? Nanotechnology refers to the particular technology goes of the precisely manipulating atom and molecules. When go for nano level, so we have made it synthesis at nano level, atomic level and molecular level, because we should know about the what is the atomic forces required, atomic how much atoms is required for the nanoparticle. So we should know about the atom and molecules for fabricating the macro scale products. That it is the application of nanoscience to produce device and products. So for the fabricating healthcare device, right? If we are using nanomaterials, that device can be nano device. That can be nano device. So this is the simplest example. Suppose this is the map of India. If we divide in states, then again divide in the district, again divide in village and small area, then everything will be known. Similarly, in case of the material, we just break the bulk material, right? Again break the material. Then when size of the material below 100 nanometer, then it will be converted in nano material. This is the one other example of the simple. So these two scientists that discovered the nanotechnology, which is the Richard Feynman and somebody Nobel. So why nanotechnology? Why we are using nanomaterials? Why not bulk material? Why not microwave material? Because fabricating the device using the nanomaterial is very difficult compared to micro material. So why nanomaterial?
It will be easy to carry such device which is small in size.
Yes, first one is size. Now I am talking about the only nanomaterials. I am not talking about the device. Because but in case of the nanomaterials, we can easily tune the property of the material. We can change optical property, biological property, electrical property, magnetic property, everything will be changed. Material will be same, but property change. Suppose TiO2. TiO2 has three phases: glucide, anatide, and rutile. So every three materials have different property, but material is same. Similarly, in nanomaterial, bulk material have different property, and nanomaterial have different property. If we convert in nano to quantum dot, it will behave another way. If we convert in nano dot, it will behave it may be different property, right? So we will discuss about the different category of the classification of the nanomaterials, which is the 0D, 1D, 2D, and 3D materials. These are the natural nanostructure of nanomaterials. So now question is that particular nanostructure, the material that have created nanostructure by using the nanostructure called nanostructure, or the structure is at nano levels, that is called nanostructure. So these are the natural example. First one is the virus, second is the protein cell of the dead virus, third one is the lotus effect, this is hydrophobic effect from the self-cleaning ability. You know, there are two types of the nature of the material. First one is the hydrophilic and second one is hydrophobic. So how can it work? It's because of the some properties from the nanomaterials. So So any material we can convert in hydrophilic as well as in hydrophilic by using the nanotechnology. Again, this is the butterfly wings nanostructure. So these are the HR cell image, high resolution scanning electron microscope. So we can easily identify that this is the 10 micrometer. So we can say this is the nanometer, right? So this is the nanostructure. Similarly, that is different structure, right? With different scale. And this is the HR cell image. Thousands years ago, common people use nano materials, but they don't know about the application of that materials. So here you can say 1000 years ago, Chinese used the gold nanoparticle like a in type to introduce the red color in the system. You can see there is red color because of the nanoparticles. Because when we change the size of the material, color will change. Same material will look in different color, like it may be red, it may be yellow, it may be green. Material is same, but when we change the size, it will look like in different way. Different type of nano. These are the naturally occurring nanoparticles. So we can see because of the volcanic ash, forest fires, they do some polluted virus. These are the natural nanoparticles. These are the man-made, which is the diesel, petrol, and so on. Similarly, we can synthesize every material by using nanotechnology. Right? We can synthesize any nanomaterial by using the nanotechnology. Right? Method of the synthesis may be different. Right? Method of the synthesis may be different because every material will have a different property. So synthesis technique may be different. These are also different types of nanomaterials. Which is incidental nanoparticle, this is the man-made. So this is the organotropic and this is the core materials. So we can make by using the chemical reaction in synthesis process. So why small is good? Because we can change the surface area, right? We can change the surface area. We can change the bacterial property. We can change the hardness, we can change the electron property, magnetic property. Suppose some material before synthesis behaving just like a ferromagnetic. It may be chance after synthesis nanomaterial, it may behave as a paramagnetic material. So magnetic property change. Similarly, electrical property. Material have a different conductivity before the synthesis, and after synthesis it may be behave in other way. So we can change electrical band gap. Here to have 3.2 electron, okay, optical band gap. So you know every material have. Do you know about the conduction band and valence band? Okay. So metal have zero forbidden gap. Semiconductor have some forbidden gap, right? Which is energy gap. And we can say dielectric have more than 6 electron more pendulums. So you know band gap is just like a in continuous way. Looks in band gap. This is the valence band. This is the conduction band. You know, this is continuous in nature, but it's not continuous because every atom has certain energy levels, or we can say every electron has certain energy levels, right? So, if we merge various number of atoms, then energy level will be very close, and it's look like a continuous. Right? electrons. Suppose this is nucleus. So do you know about 1s2, 2s2, 2p? So this is the different energy level, this is the different energy level, this is the different energy level. So 2 electron, 1 2, and 6 electron. So every electron has a different energy level. So in bulk material, billions number of atoms, right? So if one material, one atom has these energy levels, and other metal has, if we combine both the atoms, then this level will be between these two levels, this level will be between, and if I add more atoms, then more number of levels, and if billions number of atoms, it will be quantities. Okay? So if I remove atoms, then number of energy level will be reduced, and it will be discrete energy levels. It will be converted to discrete energy level. So I can easily tune the band gap of the materials. Here, hardness. If I change the material property, obviously hardness will change. Suppose carbon. So do you know diamond is also a isotope of the carbon and graphite also, but hardness is different, right? So it will depend the atomic structure, how molecules are touching and binding to each other. So in case of the nanomaterials, their force will be different. So obviously hardness will be changed. What is the nanomaterials? So these are the some nanostructures, right? Nanomaterials. Then these are the category of the nanomaterials: nanofilms, nanoparticles, nanofluids, quantum dots, nanowires, and nanorods, nanotubes. Right? So if nanomaterials having shape just like a ball, then that is nanoparticles. If it's having a just like a stick, so it may be a nanoroid, it may be a nanotube. So these are the according to the shape of the materials. This is the classification of the nanomaterials. So we can categorize based on the dimensionality. First one is 0D materials, second one is 1D materials, third one is 2D materials, or fourth one is 3D materials. This is the bulk materials. This is the bulk materials. This is the 2D materials. This is the 1D and this is the 0D. So 0D means charge carrier or carrier are restricted to move in all directions. Charge carrier are restricted to move in all directions. It can't move freely. That is called 0D material. In case of the 1D materials, charge carrier can move in this way. So movement is only in one direction, right? And it's restricted to move in two directions. That is called 1D material, one-dimensional materials. Second one, 2D materials. Charge carrier can move in two directions, but restricted in one direction. That is called 2D materials. And last one, 3D materials. Charge can move in any direction. That is called. This is the bulk material. So this is the 2D material graphene, right? Do you know what the graphene? Single layer of carbon atom. Single layer of carbon atom. If you and suppose this is the also a diamond or graphite bulk material. If we compare this graphene with that diamond bulk materials, everything will change. Conductivity will be 1000 times more. Hardness will be different. Conductivity, optical property will change. It can be used as an electrode. It behaves as a metallic material. CNT. If I fold that graphene in this way, then it can be converted to CNT carbon nanotubes. And this is the Z particles. So this is the again this is the same categorization is based on the dimensionality. Okay. So 0D, 1D, 2D, and 3D. So what is the scope of the nanoparticles? So based on the size, because when we change the size, optical property will change. So when optical property will change, we can use for the different devices like UV detector, IR detector. Okay. Because some material will absorb UV light, some material will absorb IR light, some material can absorb the UV light, or we can say visible light. So how can it possible? It's because of size of the particle. And based on the surface charge, targeting regions, so these are the scope, and these are shape. Nanoparticles may be different shape. It may be rod shape, it may be tube shape, it may be star shape, it may be sphere shape. And these are the different category of the. This is the carbon nanotube, this is the metal nanoparticle, hydrogen particle, so these are the different structure. Nanostructures, right? All are nanoparticles, but having the different structures. So here you can say these are the four-cell structure. These are the two-way structure. This is the chain link. This is the HR image of the nanoparticles. So you know that you can see this is the scale. This is the fragmented nanoparticle. So this is the CO nanoparticles, EF nanoparticles, zinc oxide nanoparticles, and this is the different size. By the naked eye, you can't see. It will be. Looks like a very smooth, but when we see by using the HR chain, it looks like these are the shape of the nanorods. Nanorods part of it. So we can see nanorods. HR chain, high resolution scaling electron microscopy. Field emission scaling electron microscopy. These are the different nanostructures, nanowires, nanorods, nanotubes, nanoparticles, nanomixel. The materials having the different shape. So वायरस को हम जो आइडेंटिफाई करते हैं उसके साइज के हिसाब से, जैसे सपोज कोरोना वायरस है तो उसका जो मास क्या है 95, so that can be designed based on size, pore size, right? So that virus can't enter through that mass. So how it's possible? Because microscope से हमने उसके साइज को, उसकी साइज का उसका शेप को आइडेंटिफाई, then can easily identify size of the cells. These are the emerging research topics based on nanoparticles. We can use the renewable energy, biological biotechnology. We can use optical application, using the industrial application, electronics application, and healthcare devices, biomedical devices, and agriculture also. So these are the different applications of the nanomaterials. Okay, now how nanomaterials can be synthesis? Okay. It was all about the introduction of the nanomaterials. Say I talk earlier. Now question is that how can we synthesis? So there are different techniques. These are the different techniques, right? By which we can synthesis. So it may be chemical based technique, it may be physical synthesis based technique, it may be wet synthesis technique. So in this category, we have used evaporation method as well as magnetron sputtering. Evaporation means just we have to melt that metal. We have to melt that metal. Suppose we have a gold, right, bulb. So we want to convert in nanomaterials. So just we have to melt that materials, and after that there will be a vapor of gold, right? Vapor of gold, it means there are some particle in gas form. Some particle will be in gaseous form. That particle will be a nanomaterial. Clear? By the magnetic, by applying a very high field, it may be DC, it may be ECRF, we create a very high field, material will be evaporated by using the, in this case by using the thermal, in this case by using the field, it may be a DC field, it may be RF field. There are two techniques, electron beam and thermal. By using the electron beam, just we have incident electron, high energy electron beam. Because of that electron beam, material will decay and it will be evaporated. Right? So when it will evaporated, then some particle will release from the material, that is called nanoparticles. Chemical vapor deposition, there are two techniques, CVD and plating. CVD means chemical vapor deposition. Right? We have take some target gas and chemically react in the chamber. After reacting the gases, it converts in a thin film. It will convert in a nanomaterial. Suppose we want to grow diamond or graphite. So first of all, I require a target gas. Make it will be methane CH4, because CH4 have carbon as well as hydrogen. So when methane will enter in the cavity or chamber, it will react with other gas. So carbon will release from the gas and it will deposit on the substrate, right? So that carbon will be in the form of the nanomaterials. Now property will change. Electroplating. Just I have electrochemical reaction. One side anode, one side cathode, and in this solution, just I make the electrochemical reaction. After reacting the material, some ions migrate towards the cathode, some ions migrate towards anode, and it will deposit on the anode and cathode. So this is the another technique of deposition. Wet soldier and printing method, spin coating, deep coating. Suppose I have powder, suppose gold, I have a solid gold. Just I have converting the powder form. After converting powder form, just I dissolve the suitable material. This is the soluble for the gold. After dissolving materials, I can make a film by drop casting. Suppose I take one drop of the that solution and drop cast on the substrate. Solution will evaporate and remaining film will be gold particles. Remaining film will be gold particles. ठीक है, अभी हमने नैनो मटेरियल्स के बारे में डिस्कस किया, राइट? अभी हम डिस्कस कर रहे हैं नैनो मटेरियल्स को कैसे सिंथेसिस करते हैं, राइट? सिंथेसिस करने के बाद वी विल गो फॉर कैरेक्टराइजेशन कि मटेरियल हम कैसे आइडेंटिफाई करेंगे कि मटेरियल इज इन प्योर फॉर्म और इन इम्प्योरिटी फॉर्म, राइट? वो होने के बाद हम किस पे जाएंगे? डिवाइस पे. मटेरियल सिंथेसिस हो गया, देन वी विल फैब्रिकेट द डिवाइस, हेल्थ केयर डिवाइस. इट मे बी ग्लूकोज एंड इट मे बी सम बायोस. These are the two different techniques for the nanomaterials. First one is top-down approach and second one is bottom approach. So here we can say this is the row, right? And then we cut it. We will convert. So just we are converting a tinning, or we can small materials. So this is the top-down approach. And in second case, just we are combining bricks and this is the building. Okay? So just because of some small object we are converting it to object. So this is the bottom approach. So when we deposit one material on the other materials, then it may be no defects, right? Because this material has 4 outer electron, it will make a bond with neighboring metal. Similarly, this material also make a bond with this atom, but in this case, it may be remaining, it may be vacant. So because of this vacancy, there will be bending bond. It may create a impurity for nanomaterials. It's synthesis technique. यहाँ पे आप देख सकते हो, this is the perovskite quantum, right? First of all, I will introduce about the quantum dot. आप मटेरियल को तोड़ते जाओ, तोड़ने के बाद अगर आप बहुत रेडियस से उसका साइज अगर कम कर देते हो, then that material is called nano material and quantum dot. Every nanomaterials or every nanoparticles is not a quantum dot. Remember? Every nanoparticle is not a quantum dot, but every quantum dot is nanoparticle. क्वांटम डॉट की साइज जो है नैनो लेवल की होती है, इसलिए हम उसको नैनो पार्टिकल बोल सकते हैं, लेकिन हर नैनो पार्टिकल को हम क्वांटम डॉट नहीं बोल सकते, क्योंकि क्वांटम डॉट के लिए कंडीशन क्या है, बोर रेडियस से कम होना चाहिए उसका साइज. तो when we change the size of the materials, the band gap of the material will change. अभी तक समझा था ये कॉन्टिन्यूअस फॉर्म में दिख रहा है. फिर हमने एटम हटाते गए मटेरियल को, उसका साइज को, तो डिस्क्रीट होता है. डिस्क्रीट होने के बाद तो सम लेवल विल रिमूव, राइट? तो हो सकता है कि ये टॉप लेवल, ये बॉटम लेवल है, स्पाइनल लेवल, ये भी रिमूव हो जाए, हो सकता है ये भी. और रिमेनिंग बैंड गैप आपका क्या होगा, इंक्रीज होगा. क्लियर? बैंड गैप विल इंक्रीज. व्हेन बैंड गैप विल इंक्रीज, इट विल लूज लाइक दैट. Same material है, perovskite material, but color is different. How it's happening? Because of the size of quantum dot. When size will change, band gap will change. It will relate different photons. LED का concept पता है? Electron and hole combine, recombine, and it release the photons. But color of the light will depend on the wavelength of the photons, right? Wavelength of the photons. Similarly, here color of the quantum dot or solution will depend on the size of the quantum dot. This is the PL spectra. Here you can say this is the UV side, UV ultraviolet. This is the infrared, and this is the visible region. So in this region, all the quantum dots having the different PL spectra, right? Meaning is that this quantum dot having this spectra, this quantum dot having, means this quantum dot can absorb this 550 nanometer wavelength light. Similarly, this quantum dot can absorb this wavelength of light. This quantum dot can absorb this wavelength of light. So this is the absorbance spectra, and this is the SCAD pattern and TAME image, transmission electron microscopy. By using the TAME image, we can identify the size of the quantum dot. So here the size of the quantum dot is around 3 nanometers. 3 nanometers. This is the 1D nanometers. Here, this is the ZL nanometers. This is the nanoflowers. CDS nanowire decorated with ZL nanometers. This is the ZL nanometers. Around this nanometer there are some nanowires, that is CDS nanowires. So this is the nanoflower structure, this is the nanometer structure. This is the graphics on the top of the ZL. यहाँ पे हमको ये ऐसा दिख रहा है कि बहुत बड़ा साइज है, बट आप अगर उसको वैसे देखते हो सबसे तो looks very small. Okay? So what will change here? If we are using this material for the sensing application, so chemical will pass through this you can say a gap of the nanodots. So there will be some chemical reaction, and we can detect virus, we can detect some glucose and this is the synthesis method of the quantum dot. This is the body injection method. This is the LAR method. So मैं इसके डीप में नहीं जाऊँगा. So this is the synthesis technique for the nanos. Here we can see. First we have take the active coated glass substrate. Then we have make a CDR, thin film of the electrode. Then we put in the just autoclave. After hydrothermal reaction, there will be nanos. And after solo thermal etching or treatment by using the HCl, it's look like that. So you can see there is some structure on the top of the nanos. That is it nanos. This is the XRD map which tells about the crystallinity of the materials. Material in which form. So here this is this method. We here the combination of the again this is the proportional method. This is the p-type stable substrate, and this is the end type here. So we can depolate this end type here by using the solder method, by using the spin coating method, by using the sputtering method, by using the EV method, by using the CVD method. So you can use any techniques for the deposition. So these are the techniques for the synthesis of the nanomaterials as well as deposition of the thin film, right? Thin film is nanostructural materials or 2D materials. This is another way of the solutions. Just we have take the titanium tetraisotope isopropyl alcohol, just mix and few drops of the HCl, then cutting, stirring that materials. After clear, it will be converted to the nanoparticles, and just we have filter. This is the preparation of the silicon nanomicrometer. So we will go there. This is the HRC image of the nanowires. This is the AF image. It tells about the roughness of the materials, or we can say surface morphology of the materials. This is the crystallographic structure. So we can easily identify material in big form, anatile form, graphite form, metal film, because here to have three different phases. It may be orthogonal, it may be a cubic structure. So we can easily identify using the XRD. XRD means X-ray diffraction. So we can change the electrical property, magnetic property, catalytic, because after converting in nanomaterials, it may be chance of the fast reaction, it may be chance more mechanical boost, it may be chance more optical band gap. We can easily prove the optical band gap. It can be a different biological property, it can have a different chemical property. So this is the solution of the nano rods. These are the different solutions we get from the and here also nano cells. These are the different. Here one thing is that this is the boards, right? 3D materials, right? This is like yellow. When I take size of this board at micro level, it will at micro level it looks like that. When I take a small material, it will look like that. Again small, it small. So material is same, but color will change. Material is same, but color will change. So we can make a dye of different color. Make a different things. origin of the property, I have already explained on the condension. Now, metal oxide analysis for the sensing pixel. Because metal oxide have better property compared to metal as well as ceramic. Because when we fabricate the device by using the metal oxide materials, then there is chance of the oxidation as well as reduction. Oxidation and reduction. Oxidation reduction. Do you know? So there will be a fast in case of metal oxide, right? Because there is chance of the oxidation and reduction. So these are the some materials, metal oxide materials, which is the ZNO, SNO2, magnesium oxide, copper oxide, SNO, copper, SCl. So similarly, TiO2 and so many materials which can be used as a metal oxide nanostructure. That can be used in the sensing application. It may be used in the gas sensing, it will be used in the glucose sensing, it will be used in the some virus detection, photovirus detection. So suppose we want to detect ammonia gas, or you can say methane, or you can hydrogen gas. So we require some metal oxides. Okay? Because when that materials, when we will contact that gas, there will be some chemical reaction, right? Or because of that reaction, there will be a change in current, electrical property, and you can easily tell if that gas is present or not. Right? Similarly, a smoke detector. Right? So in that case, metal oxide, when metal oxide will be in contact with smoke, there will be some change in the current, or there will be change in the resistance. Because of that, we can easily identify this is the atomic structure of the ZNO, which is the hexagonal structure. So ZNO is the best material because it is easily available, having suitable barrier, high excital binding energy, active anti-conductivity. Similarly, non-toxic in nature. You know, or we use the some creams, UV protection. So in that case, we have company have used ZNO particles. So we have because TN particles have vacuum of 3.2 electron volts. That can reflect or and protect UV light, protect our face from the UV rays. Okay? Why TiO2 is interesting? Because we can easily synthesize that materials by using different techniques and have suitable materials, suitable for catalytic property, value. So both materials, ZNO as well as TiO2, where we can easily synthesize, right? So in low cost, right? So these are the best materials. So nanomaterial for sensing application. So this is the bulk materials. If I break into small pieces, so you can see this is the total surface area. This side plus this top side, bottom side, this side and this side. This is the total surface. But in this case, this side, this side, this side. So this is extra two surface, right? So this is the 2S. Again 2S, 2S, 2S. So total 8 surface is extra. So we have increased the surface. When surface will increase, there will be more surface for the sensing, right? There will be more chance of the sensing. because पहले क्या होता है ना, सरफेस क्या करता है, कॉन्टेक्ट में था गैस वगैरह के या किसी लिक्विड के, अभी क्या होता है इतना सरफेस कॉन्टेक्ट में तो देयर विल बी मोर सेंसिटिविटी, राइट? तो दिस इज द अदर रेटिंग का नैनोमीटर. So here if I break in 8 small pieces and total surface will be 6 and in this case without breaking it will be 3. So surface to volume ratio increase but volume will be same. Nanomaterials in health and medicine, right? अभी हमने we have discussed of the nanomaterials property, right? Different property. Physical property. Now we will discuss of the nanomaterial property. Nanomedicine is the application of the nanotechnology in medicine, including to cure the disease, repair damaged tissues such as the bones, muscles, and we can repair or tissue. Suppose for the cancer, infection, or we can say for the cure of the cancer disease, we just need to use some materials. That materials we will go to our blood and the cancer tissues, and that will make the tissue. When medicine will complete, we can easily treat the tissue, and we can remove or we can damage by using the analysis. So these are the nano materials that can be used for the different healthcare applications. Gene therapy, delivery, cancer therapy, disorder, cardiovascular disease, brain and disorder. So by using different techniques, we can cure the disease. Right? It may be by using the delivery. It may be by using the some other IR, right? By using some surgery, right? Because in the surgery, just we have आजकल क्या हो रहा है सर्जरी के लिए क्या रोबोटिक्स यूज होता है. रोबोटिक्स में क्या हो रहा है एक पर्टिकुलर ऑब्जेक्ट सपोज स्टोन के लिए वो यूज करना है, राइट? सर स्टोन की सर्जरी के लिए तो फर्स्ट यू विल आइडेंटिफाई देयर लोकेशन ऑफ द स्टोन. इस लोकेशन पे स्टोन है, then we will find out the size of that stone, right? After that, how much area would be cut for removing that stone? कितना एरिया में कट हुआ है, right? वो तो when surgeon use conventional technique, it will be chance of vibrating of hand or chance of the more cut, right? ज़्यादा कट हो सकता है, ज़्यादा टाइम लग सकता है. But using the nanotechnology, just we have filled the data. This is the time, this is the location, this is the that it will identify it automatically. It will find out the location, it will find the size, and it will, according to that size, it will make it cut and remove that stone again. Everything will be possible by using the nanotechnology. Yeah. You go to nanotechnology in medicine. So you know there are we have tablets. So we can use there is some coating of the nanomaterials. Right? So this is the one restrictions. So these are the different applications. Drug delivery, nanomachinery, antibacterial, and then tissue engineering. So we can repair the tissue as well as or blood cells and other. So we can easily cure the different disease by using the this technology, nanomaterials or nanotechnology. These are the priority area of the nanomedicine. DNA vaccine for the parasitic, bacterial, viral disease. First, we should know about the which material is suitable for that particular virus, particular tissue, particular. So we have taken the priority, which is the first priority. Disease treatment can be benefited by the nanomedicine. It may be for the cure of the diabetes, it may be for cure of the cancer, HIV, and so on. So when the nanomedicine will reach in our body, then it will react with particular tissue, but so it will cure the disease. Suppose we want to cure the cancer. So this is the process for the delivery thermal ablation. In that case, this is the our nanomaterials, right? So we can say medicine. So this is the compatible with particular tissues. This is the cancer tissue, right? And this is not compatible with healthy cells, because we want to prevent healthy cells, right? We want to damage only cancer tissues. So this material is compatible with this material. Then the incident in the NIR, right? There will be some heat, and due to that heat, cancer tissue will damage, and the remaining or healthy tissue will be cleared. So we can easily cure cancer by using this techniques. So by using the healthcare device, first we will detect the virus or the bacteria and so on. After detecting that, we can make a diagnosis, right? डॉक्टर कैसे करता है, पहले डिटेक्ट करेगा कि आपको, देन डायग्नोसिस स्टार्ट करेगा, राइट? इट मे बी द फॉर सर्जरी, इट कैन बी फॉर बाय यूजिंग द नानोमेडिसिन, राइट? सो इट मे बी अदर टेक्निक. So now do you know about cancer? Cancer cells is continuously dividing, right? And increasing cancer tissue. So when tissue will increase, so one technique is that we have just stop the growth of the cancer tissue, right? एक टेक्निक ये है कि हम उसकी ग्रोथ को रोक दें, दूसरा है कि उसको हम रिमूव कर दें, जो कैंसर टिश्यू है उनको रिमूव कर दें. बट suppose we want to remove, then we have used the thermal ablation techniques. And if we want to stop the growth of the cancer tissue, we require the nanomedicines. So continuously that medicine will stop the growth of the tissue. Then helps the particle pass through the blood to break barriers. Because some medicine not possible to send a particular area. So by using the nanotechnology or nanomaterials, we can easily send a particular location or particular area. So that is also helpful for the blood-brain barriers. This is the again the infection detection using the nanomaterials. This is the stopping bacterial infection without antibiotics. You know, antibiotics is very harmful on body. So we can stop the growth of the bacteria by using the nanomaterials or nanomedicines. So this is the then we have water or water has some microorganisms, some salts, and so for the removing, because that water is very harmful. Actually, to take consume normal water, it's very harmful for us. So first of all, we require that microorganisms and impurity. So to removing that impurity, we require some treatment. So it will be possible to remove treatment by some injections. That is possible by nanomaterials. These are the advantages of the nanomedicine. So we can use the UV to take location, right? Because it's particular location, it's not, we can't send normal medicine, so we require the nanomedicine, right? So nanomaterial will reach a particular location and cure for disease. Second is lesser side effect, because for example antibiotics. So if we consume antibiotics regularly, it's very harmful, right? So by gold nanoparticles, suppose silver nanoparticles, that is not harmful to our body. Heavy metals is more harmful to our body, lead and some other metals. So by using that nanoparticles that is used for body and that is not harmful for us, we can easily cure our disease and have lesser side effects. High efficiency molecular targeting by the nanometric device detecting, we can easily detect the virus, which virus is present or not. So after detecting the virus, we can easily diagnose. And no surgery is required, because in some cases doctor suggests that is surgery required, but using the advanced technology, it can be cured without surgery. Disease can be cured, life can be extended. And finally, how can we evaluate the device? So there are so many different techniques for the evaluating the device, because there is nanomaterials. So for the nanomaterials, if we have the film, so that will be a thin film. So for the deposition thin film, so many techniques like thermal evaporator, electron beam, spin coating method also, right? Spin coating. So these are the techniques. By using these techniques, we can fabricate the device. So these are the filtration techniques for the nanomaterials, because after synthesizing of the nanomaterials for the healthcare device, we should know material is correct or not. Okay? So these techniques tell us the material is perfectly synthesized or not. So first we know the structural property, which can be by morphology. Crystal structure for crystal structure behind is the XRD, for the morphology behind have used the HRSM, similarly for the composition, XPS and EDS. Okay. Optical, just if I identify the what is the optical band there, what is the defect, including the, I can say that metal is perfectly same. And similarly electrical component, where it is just like a resistivity, conductivity and so on. So and finally magnetic property. So it will depend on in which device I am using that materials. Okay? So these are the research approach, or this is the technique for the device fabrication. First, I will take the design the device. First, we will go for the design. Then after I will go for the synthesis, and I will do the low cost and easy synthesis technique. After synthesizing the material, I will take the characterization. Material is totally synthesized or not. Then, after finding material is perfect, then I will go for that. Then I will fabricate the device. So, and this is the drop casting method. So, I will. So this is the gold nanoparticle decorator copper oxide nanoparticle for the glucose synthesis. Because you know that for a diabetic patient, if we take blood sample for making the test of glucose, right? So it's very painful, right? So this is the another technique. Without painful, we can detect the glucose. We can detect the glucose on this saliva, So ratio of the glucose can tell us what is the level of the diabetes. Right? So here this is the copper coil. In that copper coil, copper nanoparticles drop by using this technique. So after going this nanoparticle decorated by the gold nanoparticle. So these nanoparticle will enhance the sensitivity. It will more sensitive towards glucose. So we can easily identify the person is diabetic or not. This is the process when this is the process when we increase the sodium hydroxide, then there will be change in current. So we can easily say that there is more ratio of the animals. This is the electrical characterization. Material characterization. First image is XRD. So we can identify material crystallography of the material. This is the HRC image. This is the IV characterization, right? And this is the reaction. So there are two types of reaction: oxidation and reduction reaction. So if there is more oxidation or reduction, there will be change in the current. So we can easily say there is more concentration of glucose or sodium hydroxide. This is the extended gate activity, right? There are two electrodes. First one is the reference electrode, and second one is working electrode, which is our device, right? This device will sense the glucose concentration of glucose in this solution. So when we increase the concentration of the glucose, there will be change in current. So we can use there is more. This is the conclusion. So today just we have discussed on how to what is the property of the nanomaterials, how can we synthesize the nanoparticles, how can we fabricate the device, and finally this is the conclusion. Do you have any question?
So basically you listed about the capacities of nanoparticles. Can you
Yes.
please throw some light on wave synthesis and biosynthesis of nanoparticles?
Yes. Some leaves, plant leaves have the aging nanoparticles. So there are so many techniques when we can extract aging nanoparticles from the leaves, and some leaves have the carbon nanoparticles. So we can use different techniques. It may be you require some chemistry. Yes.
So we can increase the shelf life of expensive seafood and fruits using nanomaterials and nanotechnology.
Sorry, can you repeat?
Can we increase shelf
Yes.
life of expensive seafoods
Yes.
and fruits using nanomaterials and nanotechnology?
Yes, we can easily protect that. Because first we should know about the what is about the disease in that seafoods and what is the bacteria infection. And after identifying, we should know which device can be useful for the particular seafoods. Which materials, suppose for the bacterial infection. So to stop the growth of that bacteria, I will choose the particular nanomaterials, and that materials will help for prevent the life of the seafoods.
So you listed targets particularly by nanoparticles. How are different targets specific for a particular organ or a particular individual?
So no, nanomaterials have reactive properties. So it may be react with some occupancy object or some proteins or some. It may not react. So it will depend on the compatibility. How it's a compatibility particular issue. Yes.
सर आपने बोला ना कि कैंसर में कैंसर ट्रीटमेंट में भी यूज होता है, तो कैंसर सेल्स में नैनो पार्टिकल को ऐसे स्प्रेड करते तो वो अलग सेल में आके अगर कोई दूसरे सेल में गया तो उसको हानि
No, बेसिकली वो हम उस मटेरियल को इस हिसाब से सिंथेसिस करते हैं या फिर ऐसा मटेरियल यूज करते हैं कि दैट पार्टिकुलर कैंसर टिश्यूज के लिए कॉम्पेटिबल है, उसी के साथ वो करेगा, बाकी के लिए नहीं। क्योंकि और हमारी बॉडी में क्या होता है, सेल क्लीनिंग होता है, जो ब्लड है ऑटोमेटिकली प्यूरिफाई हो सकता है। अगर वो ऐसा और हम ऐसा मटेरियल यूज करेंगे दैट इज नॉट हार्मफुल फॉर अस, लाइक गोल्ड नैनो पार्टिकल दैट इज नॉट हार्मफुल फॉर अस। मींस हैवी मेटल्स जितने भी हैं पीबी वगैरह वो हमारी बॉडी के लिए हार्मफुल है, दैट इज कॉज ऑफ द कैंसर पीबी वगैरह। तो PBSN और but all the particles that is not harmful for us.
मतलब वो मेडिसिन को अंदर इंजेक्ट करते
Yes, I inform the another वो क्योर करने की टेक्निक है, जैसे पर्टिकुलर मेडिसिन मान लीजिए कि हम IR के मेटल की प्रॉपर्टी क्या होती है, जब IR वीक हो तो क्योर कर सकते हैं पर्टिकुलर रीजन। Any others? Okay, thank you.
Hello. Thank you so much, sir, for that insightful session. Now, as we conclude this session, I would like to invite Dr. Raman, sir, to kindly present a token of appreciation to Dr. Deepak Chawla, sir. Raman, sir. Now you all can go for the small tea break. Only 10 minutes. After 10 minutes, everyone please gather quickly.
10 मिनट के बाद वापस स्टार्ट
तो स्टॉप कैसे करते हैं? ऑटो सेव कर लेता है वो।